If you were standing on a rugged hilltop in the English Lake District in the year 1770, you would occasionally witness a highly bizarre, aristocratic ritual. A wealthy traveler would climb to the peak, turn their back entirely on a breathtaking sunset, and pull a small tinted convex mirror from their silk pocket. This dark, smoke-colored glass was called the Claude Glass. The traveler wasn't interested in looking at the real mountains with their naked eye. Instead, they held the mirror up and gazed exclusively at the compressed, softened reflection of the world behind them. Why would anyone turn their back on a real sunset? It was because in the 18th century, untamed nature was viewed as unrefined, too sharp, and aggressively loud. The Claude Glass functioned as an optical filter. It deliberately dimmed the blinding sun, smoothed the jagged rocks, and bathed the landscape in painterly, golden atmosphere of a classical masterpiece. The mirror was a premium prop engineered to prove you possess the elite taste to see a better version of reality by actively editing out the truth of the world. I'm Rahul Devinder Malik, and this is Performance in Props. Today, the filter. That 18th century mirror is the exact blueprint for the digital screens we look at every single day. For centuries after the era of the Claude Glass, industrial society tried to convince us that objective truth was the ultimate goal of the visual image. We repeated the comfortable lie that the camera never lies. We believed that the sole purpose of a lens was to capture exactly what was present, the raw wrinkles, the visible blemishes, and the harsh, unedited light of the midday sun. In the year 2010, that industrial obsession with raw accuracy completely collapsed when Instagram launched its initial closed-gated set of filters, X Pro 2, Early Bird, and Sepia. The prop migrated from a physical pocket mirror directly into the real-time processing core of the smartphone. The modern consumer instantly realized they didn't want the raw truth of their ordinary lunch or their average vacation. They desperately craved the curated atmosphere of it. Today, this performance of edited perception has transformed into a mandatory tool of survival within the identity economy. We have violently transitioned from passive color filters to highly sophisticated AI filters that actively reshape our jawlines, enlarge our pupils, and smooth away human exhaustion. Today, hundreds of millions of users across digital platforms use these beauty filters every single day to project their ultimate flawless self. In a digital marketplace, where your presence is your primary commercial asset, performing as unpolished is an unnecessary liability. We no longer use filters just to fix the background. We deploy them to reconstruct our physical selves. It turns a piece of real-time graphic code into a defensive shield, allowing us to show our perfect idealized selves to the rest of the tribe. Let's look at the prop itself. If you look at your own face through a beauty filter on a smartphone, you're witnessing a masterpiece of real-time mathematical curation. It is designed to eliminate what I call aesthetic noise. Before we look at the pixels, let's look at the core engine of the filter, the bilateral filter. A bilateral filter is a non-linear, edge-preserving and noise-reducing smoothing filter. It is essentially the mathematical foundation of many digital beauty filters, as it smooths the texture, the skin, while preserving the edges, the eyes and the lips. This creates what I refer to as synthesized perfection. It tells the brain the imperfections are just noise, but your features are the real signal. It allows the user to perform without any visual friction. Then consider the augmented mesh. Modern filters use face tracking to overlay a 3D grid onto your skull. This grid relies on the anchor points, the corners of the eyes, the bridge of the nose, the tip of the chin. In a world driven by visual curation, these anchor points are moved to fit an idealized standard of beauty. The filter isn't just fixing a blemish, it is re-architecting your entire identity. And finally, we have to talk about the snap. Think about the moment you swipe through your filters. There is a tiny microsecond delay as the processor builds that digital grid on your face. This is the theatrical lag. That brief moment of loading is signal to the brain that actual work is being done. It tells the user, we are preparing your better self, just a moment while we render the masterpiece. The filter isn't just a gimmick, it's an identity tool for the digital age. It turns genetics into variables, and in doing so, it creates a theater of the ideal, where the real is just the first draft. Now let's move into the theater of the social feed, the Zoom call, and the dating app. Why do we feel naked when the filter accidentally slips? Why do we feel more confident when we see our optimized self on the screen? It's because we are all performing augmented authenticity. In the identity economy, if you have the tools to optimize your appearance and you choose not to, you are signaling a lack of effort. We have moved into the world where the filtered image is the primary performance, and the physical body is just the backstage. Think about the archetypes we see in this augmented theater. First, there is the corporate visionary. This person uses subtle professional filters on their video calls. The touch up my appearance toggle. They want to signal, I am rested, I am focused, I am high resolution. For them, the filter is a tool of authority. Then, there is the aesthetic influencer. This person uses tonal filters, the grains, the dust, and the warm glows. They want to signal, my life isn't just happening, it is a film, it has a vibe, it has texture. They are hiring the filter to provide the atmosphere that their real environment lacks. But there is deeper, more subtle performance happening now, the performance of the shadow self. When we spend hours looking at our filtered self, we begin to audit our real face against the prop. We feel a crisis of the real. We start to view our natural state as technical error. As a leader, a brand builder, or a creator, you have to understand that your audience is increasingly augmented. They are moving away from the raw and towards the optimized. They are looking for the lenses of aspiration. Think about the world of luxury beauty. Why do they use airbrushed models and clinical before and after shots? It's because the filter provides a North Star for the customer's effort. It allows the customer to fall in love with the potential self. So how do we take this understanding of filters and augmented performance and apply it to our strategic thinking? How do you sell the better version of your customer without making them feel inadequate? It requires a fundamental shift from mirroring the customer to filtering their potential. Point 1. Become the aesthetic anchor of your market. Most brands try to mirror reality. They show real people doing real things, but the filter teaches us that people want atmosphere. How can you filter the world for your customer? This doesn't mean being fake. It means providing a specific tone or perspective. When you provide the lens through which your customer sees their problem, you become their aesthetic partner. Don't show them the truth, show them the vibe. Point 2. Optimize for frictionless correction. The filter is powerful because it is real time. It happens without effort. How can your brand provide instant optimization for your customer's life? This might mean auto correction in your software or curated bundles in your shop. When you remove the decision noise and provide a smooth outcome, you earn the customer's loyalty. Don't just give them choices, give them results. Point 3. Move from reality to resonance. The shift from standard photo to the filtered post teaches us that people want emotional resolution. Look at your visual identity. Does it feel flat and neutral, or does it feel deep and resonant? How can you help your customer feel like the hero of their own story? Use props and atmospheres that trigger the dopamine of aspiration. In the identity economy, your brand is a prop that the customer puts on to feel better. Point 4. Design for the after effect. The success of the beauty filter is that it makes the user feel powerful while they are using it. Look at your user journey. Does the customer feel optimized after they interact with you, or do they feel drained? How can you act as a shield for your customer's aesthetic anxiety? When you help your customer align with their ideal self, you move from being a product to being a sanctuary. Status in the 21st century is no longer found in being natural. It is found in being intentional. It is found in the ability to apply the filter and present a sovereign version of the self to the world. Next time you see a smooth face or a glowy post, don't just see a manipulation. See an optimized self reclaiming their image. See an identity tool carving a path through the noise. And then ask yourself, what beauty anchor am I providing for my audience to help them perform their own masterpiece? I'm Rahul Devinder Malik. Thank you for listening.